Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Our club continues to make a difference by teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm proud to serve as the president, 95th president, of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. You would think I would.
Thank you, President Michael. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I got an advance copy of this morning's wheel, or this afternoon's wheel, and there was a lovely article that President Michael wrote regarding sort of a ripple effect that happened one really just to sort of complement that. So if you'd like to bow your heads. It only takes one word of love, kindly spoken from the heart. It may change someone's life thereof, just a pleasant word to start. A heavenly word of God's truth, just a friendly, simple word. An unselfish, kind word to soothe, traveling the world to be heard. Echoes of that word bounces through, decorated, framed, and sinless. Now followed within the heart from you, that makes the kindness endless. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Francesca. And our song leader today is Sidra Kane.
Beautiful. Waves of grace. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our Sergeant at Arms today is past President Steve Linder. Steve, if you could take the microphone, we're going to switch it up today and actually start with Chris Bennett. He's going to do our first announcement even before we get to guests.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. I didn't want to miss an opportunity again this year, and looking at the numbers of how much we've raised for the Super Bowl squares and fantasy football, we raised $1,250 just for playing fantasy football. We raised $2,500 again this year for the Super Bowl squares. And I wrote Michael last week, and I said, we're not doing anything with March Madness. I don't know about you guys. I don't work on those days. March 15th, 16th, 17th, I watch television. I watch basketball, usually in a sports book. And I've done it for the last 20 years, and I'm not going to stop. So I proposed $50 per entry on an ESPN board. I'll organize everything. Sean and Michael have been wonderful enough to put it in the green book this week. I went ahead and bought 4 entries, so the club's already made $100 because half the proceeds go to the club, as with everything. So for every entry you want to get involved in, and one's for me, one's for my wife, one's for my mother-in-law, father-in-law. They think Kansas is going to win everything. So they're lost. But at any rate, I didn't want to see another year slip by where we could make $500, $1,000, $2,000 for the club. Because I look at things in terms of what can we do in 5 years, what can we do in 10 years. And hopefully, we reach $500 for the club this year. Next year we reach $1,000 and so on and so forth. So there's no limit. We can have everyone in the club get an entry. Like I said, I started with 4, but I'll reach out to clients and friends to see if they want to get involved. And it's just a good use of it's a way to have fun and raise money for the club.
Sure, thank you. And the Green Book is making its way, so please sign up if you're interested. Now let's go to the introduction of guests. Mr. Warner, International Visiting Rotarians, please.
We have our resident Calgarian, Murray, and he's going to say something.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention something that you guys are very fortunate in Las Vegas having the Golden Knights here in the Caliber. It's very, very unusual to have an expansion club doing what they're doing. I'm down here February and March watching 18 home games, and I haven't been disappointed. T-Mobile is outstanding, and I got a couple of tickets for tomorrow night.
You're going to auction those off, right?
Yeah, that's a little later in the game, or in the meeting.
Later in the game. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. Any other visiting internationals? Is that it, Bob? Okay, then let's move on to visiting Rotarians.
So he's perfectly capable of introducing himself, but I just want a little backstory. We have a visiting Rotarian who has been a club member in Southern California now for about 35 years, and he's recently relocated the area. Funny story of how I met him. I was attending the Palm Springs Rotary luncheon and sat next to his wife in Palm Springs, who told me that he is now accepted a position here. So I'll let Carl introduce himself.
Thank you, Stu, and thank you so much for bringing me into this group today. It's nice to be with you all. And I'm the general manager at the Renaissance Las Vegas right down the street. And as Stu said, I've been a Rotarian for over 35 years. Been a member of R85 actually with Irvine, California right now. But I need to find a place to come and do what we do in Rotary, so it's nice to be with you. Thank you.
I think you just found your 6th Rotary Club, right?
Welcome.
Any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, then let's move on to guests of Rotarians.
So I'm up here again. I want to introduce my guest, Victoria Seaman. Victoria is running on the Republican ticket to get on the ballot for Congress for the 3rd Congressional District, which I have now learned is pretty much all the Southwest down to the border, Boulder City, Henderson, parts of Summerlin. And I'm very pleased she can join us today. She's also interested in exploring membership to our club. And she tells me that she will be available at the exit of the door at the end of the meeting, or anybody who would like to talk to her further.
I have with me today Major Cheryl Kinnaman, my wife. Like to bring her here once in a while. And she has no political aspirations whatsoever.
Was that just decided?
President Michael, fellow Rotarians, it's my pleasure to have with me today as my guest Chris Lamb. He is our Chief Financial Officer.
Okay, guests, more guests. I know we do have a visiting Rotarian up here.
Hi, I'm Larry Campbell from Hermiston, Oregon, and it's a pleasure to be here at your club. I've been in Rotary for 42 years and have living now at Sun City Anthem, but back and forth, so I might be considered a snowbird at this time. However, my wife likes it so well that I think we're going to be spending more and more time in the Las Vegas area. So thanks for having me today.
This is the last time I'll be introducing my dear friend Diane as a guest because she was just advised that she's been accepted as a member of our club.
More guests of Rotarians? Okay, then I would like to introduce my 2 guests at the head table today. Kirk Alexander has more than 32 years in the mortgage lending industry, through which he has funded more than 4,000 residential mortgage loans. He has a son who works for the LA Dodgers. I don't know, is that good or bad? and a daughter who works in marketing at an international law firm. He enjoys skiing, water skiing, golf, and spending time with his 2 grandkids. And finally, he is also our club's 2017-18 Foundation Member of the Year. With him is Janelle Lozano, who is a licensed speech-language pathologist and certified brain injury specialist who completed her education at New Mexico State University. She works in the hospital at Nellis Air Force Base, where she evaluates and treats adults with cognitive, communication, swallowing, and/or voice disorders in both inpatient and outpatient settings. She is a proud Air Force wife and is excited to welcome her first baby boy to the world in about 3 weeks. Please join me in welcoming all our visiting Rotarians and guests. Mr. Sergeant at Arms, if you could take the microphone to past President Jim Hunt for a Family of Rotary update.
Thank you, President Michael. Yeah, an update on Carolyn Sparks. Had some scheduled surgery a couple days ago for her back that's been bothering her for a long time. So that went well, and she's at UMC in room 1405, but I think she's still kind of in a groggy state. She said she'd like to get phone calls if you'd like, so if you want to give her a call this afternoon, maybe on her cell phone, she'll probably be there for another day or two, and then they'll be moving her to some rehabilitation for her back to get her going again. But pretty severe back surgery she had, so try to say hi to her if you can, and I know that we got a card going around for her as well. Thanks.
Yes, there is a card and a clipboard somewhere. Please keep it going. Then if you could take the microphone to Jamie Stu for Wine to Water. Who wants to do it?
Well, let's do it.
Feedback on our event from Saturday night.
Hi. Well, first of all, I want to thank Jamie for coming up with the idea of a little variation of doing this in a restaurant. It wasn't really quite clear that this would be successful, but we had 23 people who I think had a really wonderful time. We had dinner at Nora's. We had a wine educator who's a master sommelier who spent a little time with us. And we had a, I think, really nice dinner and earned just about $500 or so that we can make as a donation to One Drop. So the photos were sent around in an email if people want to click on it and look at it. But hopefully we'll be repeating this. I know Jamie is thinking about a couple other interesting variations. I think the next one is maybe going to be a sake-related activity. So we'll see how it all goes.
Okay, yes, everybody gets happy when we mention alcohol, right?
I do want to mention that I believe we actually beat last year with this event. So we should be around 1,200 total so far for this year. So that's exciting.
Nice. Good job.
Good job.
And President-elect Jackie Thornhill is going to give us an update on our Power of Good entry.
Hi, everyone. Next Thursday is Wetzel out at the base ceremony. Meet us out at the Visitor Center at Las Vegas Boulevard and Craig Road at 2:30 if you need a ride into the ceremony. Just wanted to update you on your tables. You'll find a flyer. It is for the Power of Good giveaway. We did make the semifinals. Yay. So you can go to the web address that's on there. You can go, it's going to be on our website. It's also going to be on our Facebook page. And vote. As long as you are a Nevada resident, you can vote for the Las Vegas Rotary Club Foundation so that we can get some extra money next year for the Wetzel Award so we can do more for our winners. Please go and vote. Please share it with your friends and family. Anyone who is a Nevada resident can vote, not just the membership. We're also going to send you an email every day. Please pass it on to your email distribution as you feel comfortable. We need the votes. There are 110 semifinalists. That will go down to 10 finalists, and from there will be the top 3 winners. So the voting is between March 12th and 16th, and we're gonna barrage you with information on it.
$1,000 for our military, correct? If we win.
10,000 will be the total for the Southern Nevada winners. It will be 15,000 for the Southern Nevada winners, 10 for first, 3,000 for second, 2,000 for third.
So get those votes in for our military. And then next up is Larry Rouse, our foundation president. who's going to talk to us about our Tiberti Fellowship.
Everyone wants to be a Tiberti Fellow.
Yes.
What is a Tiberti Fellow, you might ask? Actually, it's a newly created program to recognize all of you who contribute generously to the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation. We're calling for contributions aggregate for everything you've contributed to the local foundation to this point. We're going to be recognizing the I hope you all want to be a fellow.
Thank you.
How do you qualify?
And then I am going
I'd also like to mention that we were at the Foundation Gala on Saturday night. It was at the Queen Mary. Thank you, Steve. It was a packed house. The ship available. The RI director that attended, that gave the keynote speaker, she was really something. I guess it's all about women this year in RI, so that's why they sent Susan, and she was absolutely just engrossed in what we do and why we do it. So with that said, I'd like to say a little bit about my duties as the youth and vocational director of this club, kind of give you a report on where we're at, what we've done, and where we're going. So our club participation, involvement, and accomplishments for the current year. In September, we met with Cashman Middle School administration, prepared for TLC. We sent 12 kids to Teen Leadership Camp at Cedar Crest in December 2017. In October, we interviewed and prepared for our Dan Stover Music Contest. Our new Interact Club president and campus coordinator at Clark High School attended the Interact Symposium that month. We set and launched 2 new Interact clubs this year, one at Clark High School and one at Bishop Gorman. The Clark High School Club has a membership greater than 70 students. In November, we conducted a very successful Dan Stover Music Contest. The winner of our club contest advanced to the next level of area competition. He will perform at our 95th celebration party. Recently, we held our 4-way test speech contest, producing one of the best speeches we've ever heard. Would you agree? Huh? She was great. She was great. Since the end of January, we've been preparing and interviewing students for the 2018 Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, also known as RYLA. We have 12 students registered to attend this month. That's on the 16th through the 18th, and we have 5 alternates. The Hensel Ethics Essay Contest has produced 1 student essay with more to come. This contest concludes March 31st. Next month, we will hold a very special luncheon for 54 stellar students, our valedictorians for 2018. That wraps it up for me. Thanks for your continued support.
Now please enjoy a quick 5 minutes for lunch and fellowship. Don't worry about it. Welcome back. Mr. Sergeant at Arms, if you can finish chewing. And we have a birthday table. It is the first Thursday of the month. So if you could let the birthday Rotarians introduce themselves and tell us about themselves.
Well, I'll get this party started, I guess. I'm Chris Rodenfels. I've been a member here for about 5 years, but I've been a Rotarian for over 30 years. Past president of my last club twice, and that's enough. 21st of this month.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Paul Kruger, but I think I know almost everybody here. And also, I learned a lesson from my mother. She said, "You're old enough to know better." I think I am now finally old enough to know better.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. I'm Jamie Goldsmith, and my birthday is March 27th. I will be 42, and March 27th is also my 4-year anniversary in Rotary.
Hello, y'all. I've been a member here since '92, and I was brought in the club by Joe Ryan, the ex-postmaster, used to be a member here, and he was also a prospector with Sidra. And I'm 18, going on 72. And past president. When I did join, I had the opportunity to join 7 years earlier and never did. But I will say, in this club, I have 140 plus friends that will do anything for you anytime you ask. Thank you all.
Amen.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Wisenhunt, past president. 2009, 2010. I've been in this club since 2002, I believe it was, and I've been in Rotary 24 years. And I concur with Jim here. I have a lot of friends in this room, so thank you very much.
Michael Williams. I've only been incredible, extraordinary people in this classroom. And a quick story over, and some of you already know this, 20-some odd years ago, I made a request to this club, and I had no idea who they were. They were called the Rotary Club. My principal said, if you need something for your classroom, make a request. And I was teaching them how to read. I was at Green Valley High School at the time, and they donated a cassette player and cassettes for each one of my students, and I thought it was overwhelming. And who would have thought that I would join the club 20 years later? Thank you.
Wait. What's a cassette player?
Good afternoon, Matt Nelson. I think it was 16, 17 years ago. I was in my mid-20s, and a kind, loving gentleman had, as I remember it, he sort of grabbed me by the wrist and said, "Son, you've been taken from this town long enough. It's time to give back." And so that's how I landed in Rotary, and it's been wonderful ever since. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks for giving back. So now, Sidra.
Okay, happy birthday. We're going to sing to these lovely table of people here. So we'll give you a note to start. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations. Today we're also starting something new, and if you could take the microphone to Arlene Sirois to tell us about her wonderful
When my husband Mike was here for Valentine's Day, and he said to me, "Where do we put these things, the wheels and the tickets and all that?" And I said, "Oh, just put it in the trash." He says, "What? You don't recycle?" So that started me thinking that perhaps we should recycle because these are all recyclables. So I presented it to President Michael, and he thought it was a great idea. And today I presented it to the 25 Club, and they stepped up, and so we shall be recycling our wheels and, paper goods on the tables. So
Thank you. Thanks. That's a great idea. And now you're going to run all the way to the other side. Our President-elect, Jim Cole, to tell us about our upcoming car show.
Pause and chew. Okay. As you probably will recall, we're having a car show. It's going to be on April 15th, tax day. It's going to be a Sunday. It's going to be at Ryan Hamilton's Celebrity Cars. We have a main sponsor. We're still looking for other sponsors. We're also looking for raffle prizes and donations. So if you have some of those, if you could just reach out to me with an email or a phone call, I'd be more than happy to touch base with you and get that all coordinated. And then on a completely different topic, and this is off the agenda, if I could just have a quick acknowledgement of hands. How many people here have a Fitbit? Fitbits? If you're interested in joining a Fitbit club for this Rotary Club, just send me an email. Thank you.
A Fitbit club for our club. See President-elect Jim Cole. As Larry Rouse said, our 95th birthday party is on April 5th. You can sign up in the Green Book. Please do that so that we have an accurate RSVP count. And then David Squire, are you here? David? Jerry? Okay, then I guess Kirk Holmes to tell us about the highway cleanup.
Behind you, Kirk. Behind you. We will be cleaning the highway on March 24th. 24th. So, 8 a.m. And then afterward, there will be brunch, famous brunch at the Squires residence. So,
Thank you. Thank you for organizing that. Right there, past President Jim Hunt to tell us about our cigar fellowship.
Again. Thank you, President, one more time. 2 weeks from tomorrow, March 16th, we're looking for better weather and a great way to kick off St. Patrick's Day at Tom Kroeb's house. If you haven't been there for our newer members, it's a beautiful home on the 15th hole of TPC. Absolutely gorgeous home on a patio that overlooks the fairway. We're going to have wine tasting for those of you that don't smoke cigars. For those of you who do, please join us. It's a whopping $10 donation that goes to the foundation for us. So we'll see you there.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing that. And then Marie Walsh to tell us about Breakfast with Books next Tuesday morning.
Thank you, President Michael. March the 13th, Breakfast with Books. The green folder has been passed around, and I just want to make note that even if you see a lot of people on the list, don't get afraid, just come, because sometimes people have other obligations and they don't even know about it. Thank you. And I also want to make note and thank the people that have gone to Beckley this week for Reading Week. We really appreciated it. Thank you very much. We'll see you all at Breakfast with Books.
Thank you. And then just a reminder that there is memorial services for Bill Granda tomorrow night at the Divine Cafe at Springs Preserve. You should have all received an email from Sean with more details. Now, Stu, if you're ready, we're going to move to our portion of the meeting where we're going to raise some funds for our foundation. As you guys all know, we are trying to reach $2 million for our foundation. And today somebody launched something specific, and Stu is going to show us if technology plays along. So I don't know what any of that means, but I know we're going to raise some money for the foundation. So, past President Steve, thanks, Stu, for putting that together. You could take the microphone to Captain Kirk Holmes here up front to explain this video for the uninformed here, please.
Yeah, well, what? I'm starting to get used to it. So I started with Mike Ballard, a company called Venture Catalyst, and then he passed the reins over to me and Becca, and then we went through a rebranding and just launched our new website today called Bolt Goodley. And Becca's a Star Wars fan, and I'm a Star Trek fan, so it's a house divided. And what's funny is Becca actually came up with the new name, and Bolt Goodley is an anagram for To Boldly Go. So kind of fitting. And thanks, Stu, for getting me fined. So
it sounds as if you threw your fiancée under the bus there, you threw Mike Ballard under the bus there, so I don't really know. So I think that's going to be definitely $95. So thank you, Kirk, for your donation to our foundation. And now let's go to the drawing, or actually, let's do Murray's tickets first. So Murray's got 2 tickets, right? 2 tickets for Friday night's hockey, the Knights against the Ottawa Senators at the T-Mobile Arena, and there are great tickets. You can see the game from anywhere. Great seats, as always. Thanks, Murray. So where should we start? This tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Section 212. So let's start the bidding at $50. Do I have $50? $50 for the tickets for tomorrow night. $50. Somebody? We got $50. Let's go $60. Is there 60? $70. $70. We have $60. $70. $70. $70. $80. We have $70. $80. 100. Randy Donald, thank you. 100. 110. 120. 120. We have 120. Back to you. 130. Okay. We have 130. Back to you, Dave Lester. 130. 140. 150. Okay, so we have 150. 150. Anybody else? Oh, Ginger, how much? 160? 160. She just got there. I don't know, maybe I missed her hand. Maybe I didn't see it. Maybe it was her. 160. We have Ginger at 200. 200. 200. President Randy, $200. $200. Yes, that was for 2 tickets, $200. So, no, total. You're good? Oh, 225. 225. Randy, you just got saved there. 220. 225. 225 going once. Twice. How much? No, we're at 225. So what 240. 240. 250. We're back at you, Randy. 250. Going once. 250 twice. Sold. Congratulations, past President Ginger Anderson. $250. And thank you, Murray. Okay, let's move on to our drawing. The number for our drawing is 849724. 849724. Jerry? Oh, Murray. Murray, perfect. Yeah, you just donated, and now it's fitting that it's you. He is just in a giving mood. Murray just donated his $10 back to the club as well. Thanks, Murray. And then we have for the Larry Bucks 849-861. 849-861. 861. A guest. Yay. Thank you all, and now I would like to introduce past President Brock Fraser to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Michael. We have the unique opportunity this afternoon to welcome Brian Gordon, who is a principal with Applied Analysis, an operation that we're all familiar with, leads a lot of trends in this town are predicted by their organization. Brian is a graduate of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, with a bachelor's of science in business administration. He is also a CPA and has the added distinction of an accredited business valuation expert. He is the author of the Las Vegas Quarterly Market Report, which his firm produces, and he heads up the sales track, the firm's residential research arm. So with that, we welcome to our podium Brian Gordon.
Wow, exciting stuff. Thank you for that introduction. I don't know how you had all that memorized either. That's pretty good. Where's Randy? Randy, I promise I won't tell Sally that you didn't get the hockey tickets, okay? I won't let her know how close it got. Yeah, I know. That was pretty good, right? Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is a good group. A lot of familiar faces, so glad to be here. I think my last visit here was probably sometime during Randy's presidency, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and good group. I like the room and a lot of good energy. You guys do a lot of stuff here for the first hour. I think he's just directing traffic, to be candid with you, but that was pretty good. So I thought I'd just kind of give you the 10 to watch here in Southern Nevada. This is the idea to kind of put forward the top things that we're monitoring from an economic standpoint here in Southern Nevada, some things we want to keep an eye on a go-forward basis, just to keep tabs on where the economy's headed, where the real estate markets are headed, just generally what's happening here in Southern Nevada based on who I'm seeing here. I think you guys probably already have this under control. That said, I'll walk you through. Let's start with number 10, business tax climate, and what we're seeing in terms of where we rank in the overall business tax climate. We you can see here ranked number 5 across the country according to the Tax Foundation. They look at a lot of factors in terms of our tax structure as well as other factors related to our pro-business environment. So we are well positioned to capitalize on future growth and migration of businesses here into Southern Nevada. I don't need to go through the laundry list, and I'm sure President Michael could go through all the list of companies that they bring here to Southern Nevada, but this is one of the key reasons that makes it a lot easier to attract and retain some of these companies. If I had my business and I was moving, I'm thinking there's probably 3 companies on that, 3 states on that list that aren't going to make the cut, so I think we're even in a better spot than number 5. Why is that individual income tax rate? We all in personal property tax or income tax here, as well as we rank number 8 in terms of overall property tax rate. So a lot of good things happening. Pro-business environment. One thing that we want to watch going forward is what happens at the state legislature and how that might affect things. So in this next coming cycle, we've got a number of potential seats up for re-election that have the potential to turn over, if
governor's office. So a lot of changes coming. We want to keep an eye on what happens in this next election cycle. Professional sports, hockey team, there you go. $250 tickets or whatever they were. I think we're all well aware of what the Golden Knights are doing here in Southern Nevada. There's a lot going on, though. Global sports leagues, if you will. If we think back to maybe just a year or two ago, we had one team, a minor league baseball team, the 51s, which have been here forever, which is a good thing. And then what have we added over the last couple of years? You guys know some of these logos and brands. So we are starting to become a major league sports town, and I think there's a lot of good reasons. A lot of reasons why that's good for the overall community, and I think you've probably seen some of those pop up here in terms of the infrastructure. Where will we see some of the other additions on a go-forward basis is that we have some potential to see some other professional sports franchises come here to Southern Nevada based just on how we're seeing some of the early indications of some of the teams performing here. Some of the infrastructure I mentioned, T-Mobile Arena, what we're seeing there, the Las Vegas/Raiders Stadium. I know you guys were disappointed. Originally, my business partner was supposed to be speaking to you today. I think he was reviewing like 87,000 contracts between the Stadium Authority Board and the Raiders and their lenders and anybody else that wants to be involved in that process, so he couldn't make it. But nonetheless, there's a lot going on there, and it is moving forward at this point. So good news there. The ballpark, you probably read about the groundbreaking up in Summerlin for the minor league baseball stadium. So again, a lot of money being invested here in the community. Commercial real estate. We got commercial real estate folks here. What's happening in the market? A lot better than we were, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if we look at rents just from a retail, office, industrial standpoint, we saw these highs. We saw things drop off. We're now starting to see some momentum and some traction in terms of overall rents. Don't let some of the numbers fool you. We're seeing a mix in the product type that's being developed too. We're seeing some of those bigger industrial boxes that have come to market. Companies like Amazon and some big players that are coming to North Las Vegas and other parts of the valley. So rents are sort of moderating a bit. But overall, we're seeing upward pressure on pricing, so that's a good thing. Development costs aren't getting any cheaper, by the way. Labor, construction costs, land, all that good stuff. We'll let Matt talk to you about that at some point. Vacancy rates improving across the board. Retail, office, industrial, we're seeing some pretty solid gains there in terms of the overall vacancy rates. And then what's happening in the development side of the equation. Under construction and planned space, we're seeing some pretty good pickup in the industrial market, a lot of demand in the industrial sector. We were undersupplied there for a point in time where we just didn't have the capacity to bring in new folks, and so now those businesses have some opportunities to relocate distribution, big box facilities here in Southern Nevada. The office market's starting to stabilize, so we're starting to see a little bit more pickup there on the office side of the equation, and then retail has been relatively stable, tracking generally with population growth, and so that's a good thing in that 8% range in terms of overall vacancy rates in the retail market. The tourism industry, the core of what is Southern Nevada, right? A third of the overall employees here in Southern Nevada are dedicated directly to the tourism industry, and a couple of things I just wanted to hit on. First, McCarran International Airport, we're seeing all-time highs in terms of passenger volumes going through McCarran. We rank number 8 nationally in terms of the 8th busiest airport across the country. Importantly to think about is that we are the number 2 busiest airport when you talk about folks that are either originating or Las Vegas is their ultimate destination. So when you strip out all of the passengers that are just flying through McCarran on the way to their ultimate destination, we rank number 2. So that's pretty strong. I've got a hand in the back. Who's number 1? You know what? I think it's actually Atlanta. I think they're number 1 on both lists, but I can check that out for you. Visitor volume overall, again, we saw all-time highs about mid-17. We saw some trail off in the back half of 17, so a little bit of a slowdown there, but pretty impressive when you think about 42 million people getting in a plane, car, however they're getting here and making their way to Las Vegas. Remember, those numbers reset on January 1 of every year. In terms of the convention side of the business, that's been relatively strong. You can see we're expanding at a pretty healthy pace. We've got about 6.6 million convention travelers that have come to Las Vegas in the past year, and that's been a catalyst for additional development activity in Southern Nevada. Right now, or as of last year, we had about 11.5 million square feet of convention space here in the market. You can kind of see where it's distributed. Obviously, the resort corridor is the key beneficiary of all that activity. the major facilities that are along the Las Vegas Strip and around the resort corridor. Pretty sizable number in terms of convention facilities. If we look at where we're headed, though, when we think about the new projects that are on the horizon, we've got about $14.7 million in total that we may be looking at over the next 5 to 7 years. We have the Las Vegas Convention Center expansion. We have major resort properties like Aria bringing on new product, Park MGM. MGM Grand is also investing in additional convention facilities. Resorts World has space programmed in there. The Drew is up to another 500,000 square feet once that project kicks off. I'll talk a little bit more about that one. But a lot of new inventory coming to the market. We probably need another 2 million convention travelers to fill all that space if it's all built. So we'll take some time to absorb that, but we'll work our way into that. We want to keep an eye on that one going forward. The construction sector obviously is doing much better than it was, not as great as it was at the height of the market, but I don't know that any of us want to be there, to be quite honest with you. We had about 112,000 workers in the construction industry, and I know it's old, but you remember when we were building, we had construction workers building houses for construction workers, right? I mean, that was literally what was happening during that 04 to 06 time frame. We couldn't bring them in fast enough. And then we know what happened when the music stopped. We saw sharp contrast in terms of the construction sector, sharp downturn, and now we're starting to see some improvements. It is the fastest growing sector of the local economy, and we want to keep an eye on that going forward. This just gives you a sense of where we tracked at the height of the market. We had about 11% of the local employment was focused specifically in the construction sector. Nationally, that figure was about half that. And then you kind of see the ebb and the flow, and today we're looking at about 7% of the overall employment base is in the construction sector. And if you talk to any developers, they can't find enough people today. The economy forward, these are the fastest growing states across the country in terms of overall population growth. We ranked number 2 last year. We've got the latest data coming out here in Vegas, and we continue to be up year over year. You can see the statewide population growth expand about 2%. Pretty impressive when you think about what's happening throughout the balance of the United States. So in the past year here in Southern Nevada, we added about 58,000 employees on the year-over-year basis. This is a net number, not a gross number. So this factors in people leaving as well, because believe it or not, some folks do leave. That equates to 6.7 people moving into Southern Nevada every hour of every day throughout the entire year. Pretty amazing in terms of the overall population growth. Net. Important to know that. Housing market, what's happening in the housing market? I think this is near and dear probably to all of us in terms of what's happening in the housing market. Spend a little bit of time on this. New and resale home closings. Remember what the new home market looked like in 03, 04, 05? People were sleeping out and waiting to get in line to buy a house. That seemed normal at that time, right? Not so much. We kind of know how that played out, but you see the trend line in terms of what happened there in the new home sector. New homes are starting to increase their overall market share. About 16% or so of all homes being sold are in the new home sector. Again, prices are edging up pretty strong as well. Year-over-year growth rates, you can kind of see what that means. Here's the price points in terms of the medians, new versus resale. There's a premium there on the new home side of the market. No surprises there, but you have a lot of other things that factor into that. New home efficiencies, they tend to be larger homes. They tend to be located on the periphery of the valley where land costs are higher. A lot of factors contribute to why we're seeing higher prices there, but we're still seeing pretty sustained pace of sales in the new home market, and that's probably a good thing as we start to face some challenges on the resale side. I'll walk you through. New home permits, how many units are being permitted by year? Again, the point here is that we've seen this ebb and flow, and we're seeing a much more stable, sustainable pace of growth in the housing market. I think that's a good thing for all of us. Actively selling subdivisions. Where are the new homes located? Around the Beltway, southwest, northwest, where the access is and where the vacant lands are, to be candid with you, where they're coming from. So, again, gives you a feel for where all the new home development's coming from. We'll continue to see retail follow on in some of these areas. Major master plan communities being a key driver of where we're seeing a lot of that growth. On the resale side, just over 1 month of effective supply on the market today. You kind of see the trends over the years. Woefully undersupplied in the resale market. You have a lot of folks out there looking for homes and they just can't find it, right? You've probably heard the horror stories. We still have cash buyers in the market. There's just not enough inventory in the resale market, and so this is reflective of that latest trend. And importantly, when we break down the availability in the market by price range, we start to see where we're having the challenges. Anything priced under $300,000 per unit is reporting an even lower level of availability. And so you have some of those first-time home buyers that are trying to enter the market or just struggling to identify opportunities to acquire resale homes. Distress in the market has essentially gone away, so I think we're all in a much better situation in terms of the profile of homeowners and what that looks like. Foreclosure volumes have essentially come to a standstill at this point, so we're on much better footing there. And then if we look at the number of mortgages that are in default, we saw this peak out in about the fourth quarter of 2009, and you can see where we're at today. This has essentially become a non-issue for Southern Nevada homeowners. I guess not for 22,000 of them. What do the mix of sales look like on an annual basis here? The split, when you talk about distressed home sales, you think about auction sales, foreclosure sales, REO sales. They're a modest share of the total. In the last month, it's really about 3% overall. That annual total is still catching up from some of the data from earlier in 2007. So again, we're on a better foundation here in the housing market. Housing affordability, I've kind of alluded to this. This is an issue that we want to keep an eye on pretty closely. We hear a lot of people talking about housing affordability challenges. We know a lot of businesses here in Southern Nevada, tourism operators, casino companies, construction companies. A lot of folks are dealing with challenges related to housing affordability. I just want to share one chart with you and walk you through this. So you walk into your lender today, you think about you want to get a loan on a home. We've got our lender that says, hey, you can only use about 30, 33, 35% of your income on housing costs. So good luck to you, and here's your pre-approval letter, and you can't find anything in the market. Nonetheless, if we look back historically, how the median incomes compared to the median home prices, we were in a pretty good range there. That gray shaded area you see, kind of in balance in terms of home prices versus overall incomes. And then we know what happened starting in about 2004, right? Home prices shot up and incomes didn't follow suit, at least not on a relative basis. So you had home prices were outstripping incomes pretty significantly during that time. And then what happened? The crash, the fall off, home prices plummeted, and not everybody was able to maintain their income. But on an average basis, you look at how home prices compared at that point when we had the resale median home price was like $100,000 per unit that was being sold. We had investors jumping in and gobbling up all that inventory. Nonetheless, homes were very affordable at that point in time. We just didn't have anybody with credit that could purchase them. So here's where we're at today. This is the estimate through 17. Official personal income data aren't necessarily out yet. But we're right in the band of where we should be in terms of home prices relative to incomes. We are seeing incomes start to rise in that 3 to 5% range. Overall, home prices are escalating at a faster pace, so this is starting to become a concern and something we want to keep an eye on. But things are much more in balance maybe than they have been at any time over the last decade, and people should be in a better position to be able to acquire residential properties. Again, something to keep a close eye on a go-forward basis. Employment growth. This is key, obviously, to what happens in the overall economy. Employment growth rankings, guess what? Yes, number one overall, the state of Nevada on a year-over-year basis expanded at 3.3%. Again, impressive performance, while the national average was about 1.6%, so more than double what's happening in the nation as a whole. Employment growth, we're at an all-time high. You can see the trend line on the left and year-over-year growth rates. Again, pretty impressive growth, 2%, 3%, 3.5%, 84 consecutive months of year-over-year growth. We're starting to see some pretty healthy pace of recovery and a relatively tight labor market. Unemployment rates are plummeting to near lows. In terms of rankings, how we compare to other markets outside of Southern Nevada, fourth fastest growing in terms of major metropolitan areas. Pretty impressive. We only lag Orlando, Riverside, San Antonio. We actually beat out Austin in this last report. So again, pretty impressive growth across the country, across the board for us. The last one I want to just hit on, major investments. I've talked a little bit about some of these as I've gone through. but I want to hit on a few of them. I've got the eye chart here for you, especially you in the back. I don't expect you to see this. All I want to tell you, there's a lot of projects on here that are in the pipeline in terms of notable projects. I saw that back there. You squint, glasses up, down. I get it. Big projects to small projects. I'm not going to tell you all of these are going to happen. I'm not going to tell you which ones aren't going to happen either. You can probably guess on a couple of them, but a lot of them are under construction already, and that's an important thing. Here's the back half of the list, and the only number you need to know is the bottom one here. That's almost $19 billion of major projects that are in the pipeline today. I know it's a big, headline number. It's important. Not all of that's going to come to market. At the same time, we've got some projects on here. DND, if you can read that, did not disclose. There are other projects on there that have been announced that don't necessarily have price tags. I'll walk you through a couple of those, but this number is well in excess of $20 billion when you talk about how much investment is going to be taking place here in Southern Nevada, potentially. I'd probably say at least half of that is already in the books and moving forward. We were talking about the stadium deal that's moving forward, and so you got another $2 billion included in that number. Resorts World, these are the part where I just put up pretty pictures, and you don't have to look at me. That's really the point of this. Wind Paradise Park, $1.5 billion project. Convention Center, another $1.4 billion. Switch is investing $1 billion in Southern Nevada. Park MGM, I don't know if you've driven by the old Monte Carlo. The signs are torn down. Stuff's happening there. We're going to bring the monorail down by Mandalay Bay. The Spaghetti Bowl, fun, right? I'll leave that one alone. Caesars Forum, this is one of those convention facilities back behind the link. Pretty impressive. Going to be a major convention facility owned and developed by Caesars Entertainment. Medical buildings, Aristocrat, gaming manufacturers bringing their offices here, Fly Link, you guys are all ready to do this, right? Zip line down the link over on the east side of the Las Vegas Strip. We got convention facilities at MGM I mentioned. The Drew. Who knows what the Drew is? Yes. The former Fontainebleau, right? That's the structure that's standing there today. It was well underway and stalled out, about 2007, about a decade ago, something like that. It's been sitting there vacant, recently got acquired. Somebody's now moving forward with it. It's called the Drew. My guess is there's another, I don't know, what do you got, Matt? Another $1.5 billion to build this thing, something like that, right? Major project. That was one of those did not disclose the prices, right? So a decade ago, that thing started. It looks like that's ultimately going to move forward. Things like the Marriott, brands like the Marriott are going to occupy that building. How about this one? You guys know about this one? Sphere Las Vegas, the Madison Square Garden project. Anyone from Las Vegas Sands here? Nobody from Las Vegas Sands, Palazzo Venetian? Okay, that's good to know. So Dr. Gordon here is involved in the Las Vegas Perspective. Are you guys familiar with this event and publication? Book of economic data comes out once a year. When is it? May 15th? This is shameless self-promotion, by the way. Tuesday, May 15th. Sign up, do all that good stuff. You get like this big book of data, some good presentations, better than this one, a lot of good stuff. But here's where our first book that we did for the Las Vegas Perspective was in 2007, a decade ago, right? Kind of like when the Fontainebleau was going. They didn't know what they were getting into. Look what we did a decade ago. We knew what was going to happen from the Palazzo, right? That's the real cover of the book. Do you believe that this came to me at about 10 o'clock last night? So I hope it worked. We already had visions for the Sphere on the Las Vegas Strip, so there it is. We were ahead of our time by about a decade. That's what I've got. I was told I have time for questions. I don't really know if I do, but I'm happy to take them. And Michael tells me if there's a microphone, that should go around.
Are we counting cranes in the sky anymore?
We are. I don't have the number, but we've seen a lot of them, right? There are a lot of them coming up at the old Echelon project, Resorts World. The stadium site has a number of them up now, and so that's the state bird, right? The crane.
Yeah. You mentioned something about Amazon. What is that about?
If you don't know what Amazon is, you're in the wrong room. I'm being sarcastic. So Amazon recently, leased about 450,000 square feet of industrial space up in North Las Vegas. They already have a number of facilities here in Southern Nevada, but that's a big transaction and a big building, almost a 500,000 square foot building. So pretty massive. They're just making big investments in a number of markets, and we're just happy to be part of that.
Do we see any expansion of I-15 South?
Expansion of I-15 South, I'm assuming you're saying on the California side of the border. I wish, right? Is that the worst drive ever when that thing's jammed up? Don't go back to California on Sunday night and don't come here on Friday night. There's been discussions for the last 20 years on that. I don't have a specific update. I'm hopeful like you are.
You didn't mention possible expansion of the monorail to the airport.
Yeah, so the county has preliminarily approved an expansion of the monorail system to come down by Mandalay Bay, which would dump out in close proximity to the Las Vegas Stadium. They're also talking about the connection to McCarran Airport, but I don't know that element of it has been finalized yet. I know there's also a station being programmed where that sphere is in the back of the strip.
Brian, thank you for a great presentation, something that's important to all of us. Tell us your take, and I'll call it just exactly the way I think it is, this resort fee increasing and the parking fees that the hotels and casinos are upping and charging.
What's my take on it? That's dangerous. Look, probably a couple of different ways to look at it. That said, they're either going to charge it through the room rate as it relates to the resort fee. They're going to charge it through the room rate, or they're going to charge it through the resort fee. To me, it's all the same. They're charging the customer for the stay and the experience, and if customers don't want to pay it, they don't pay it. It's all part of the room rate at the end of the day. There's some tax-related nuances that may benefit one entity or another in that regard. On the parking charges, you hear the arguments that every major city in the country charges for parking, and so why aren't we? I get that we never had it before. At the same time, these guys are maintaining massive parking structures for all those folks, and so, again, another way to extract another nickel out of the consumer to help the bottom line. And so I think almost all of the major gaming companies have transitioned to charge parking fees, and it just seems to be the way it is. And you tell me. Yeah. Who thinks we're killing the goose that laid the golden egg? By show of hands. Okay, good mix. I certainly see arguments for both sides. Absolutely.
Can you shed any light on what you think the marijuana industry is going to have an impact on our economy? I know there's other states that are recording record sales, but how will it affect, do you think, our healthcare, taxes? I mean, any insight on that?
No particular insight on that type of question, but look, from a fiscal standpoint, it's a revenue generator. From a social standpoint, that's a different ballgame.
Brian, what do you think is going to happen out in Apex? Is John Lee going to get his industrial development?
President Michael said he was going to get Faraday back here. No, that didn't come out of your mouth, did it? No. Look, at some point, we are going to need that land, and maybe not today, but as soon as that infrastructure is there and developers see that as a viable opportunity, I do think that the land is going to be needed. It's just going to be a question of when.
What's your thought on Lennar buying Cal Atlantic and some of these other builders and sort of squeezing out small home builders out here in Las Vegas and their connections that they're developing with like Amazon and solar companies and stuff like that, where they're sort of shoving stuff down the buyers' throats in terms of our market being a seller's market?
Yeah, the consolidation of the industry isn't necessarily a surprise. I think I mentioned it earlier. The cost of construction is rising. The cost of land is rising. Just development costs are on the rise. At some point, there's downward pressure on pricing, and they're for-profit companies that are trying to earn a profit for their shareholders. And so consolidation is one way that allows some of them to combine forces and cut costs. Maybe it provides fewer options, but I think some of those mergers are intended to still provide a wide range of products and even different brands in some instances. But so that is just a force of nature. I think we saw that in the gaming industry at one point, just the consolidation that took place for operational efficiency purposes. I think they're also getting creative to try and maximize profits by integrating products that they're using anyway, or at least offering. And so it's just another way for them to try and generate shareholder value. One more?
Jerry.
I heard if I went longer than 11 or 1:30, that the doors slammed and everybody left.
Of course, in the past, we've always heard that the UNLV is attractive in many ways, but in other ways, it's not really attractive to the real big commercial enterprises to come here. Do you have a position on that?
In terms of UNLV's stature, look,
attraction for employees and their children to come here.
Yeah, I think UNLV has had its challenges over time. There's no doubt about it. I'm a product of the UNLV business school, but yes, they need to raise their profile. They need to do more in terms of research, in terms of the quality of the education. I think there are a number of areas for improvement, and I think they're trying to make strides in some of those areas. And I think we're seeing some of the increased investments, like the medical school and others. I think we need to be doing some of those things to make it more attractive and generate a better product out of that system, no doubt.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Brian said he will stick around for a couple of minutes if you have any questions that we didn't get to. So, Brian, I would like to present you with our Share What You Can award, where we will donate a hot meal to a homeless vet in your name. So, pause and smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And like I always say, Rotary is like tennis. The one who serves best usually wins. Now go forth and make a difference.